This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
All right, everybody. How you doing? Captain Jack here with my favorite ladies in the world. I got DC Wench, Peggy Holmes. I got Kevlar Prom Dress, Heidi Stabbert, and they make you feel all good inside. So I know I can't do this without them. So make sure that you like, you share, you comment after the show. Make sure to get this all out there for everybody because this is what we're kind of a secret thing, but I want everybody to know about the wonderfulness we got with the wenches here, and they deserve to have more folks watching them than the law allows. So that's why I'm going to let them go with that. Remember, you are watching on Roku TV, so we got to watch our language. Actually, I only really have to do that when we have our third wench in here, and hopefully she's doing good as well. But again, you're watching on Roku TV, so when there is an announcement later on, and Peggy will make that announcement later on, it will be definitely conducive for those that are watching. Remember, you are watching on Roku TV. You're watching on YouTube. You're watching on Facebook. You're watching on Twitter and a couple other things. So it's a great thing. Thank you for being here. And without further ado, I'm gonna go to a screen where I can actually see all the. See, you're in my spot, Heidi. I can't. I can't.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love modern technology. It's so great. Captain, we want to come right out of the batter's box swinging.
Go get it.
Start right on with the biggest news of the day. Blockbuster trade for Russ. I understand the Donkey fans are a little upset. Noah Fant is involved. Two other players, 2 first-rounders. A second round pick, just a boatload of stuff for Russ Wilson. And here we go again with the Broncos, always importing instead of developing their quarterback talent. Heidi, what's your take on this whole trade?
Well, the only time they've been successful in the last 20 years is when they have imported their quarterback talent. So I understand why they did it. They can't draft a quarterback if their life depended on it. I'm
sorry, Bronco fans. I mean, go ahead, Heidi. I mean, what can you say? They just absolutely. And I actually turned back the clock a little, went back to look, and I looked at Plummer, starting with Jake Plummer, then Orton, then Greasy, then Cutler. Then I looked at Simeon, I looked at Osweiler, and now Drew Lock, and I'm like, what's wrong with this picture? I mean, Captain, what's going on in Denver that they can't seem to develop new talent?
Yeah, I tell you, this is the time, and I know we're going to hear from him eventually, but I want to hear, and actually that's another segue for your segue there, Peggy, that we have it. But eventually we're going to hear from Richie Raiderette. And even Bishop 80 is like, where's Richie? Yeah, where's Richie?
Oh, he's got come on. Once he hears the donkey call, we're talking him up big time. But I mean, seriously, what's this thing about not being able to develop new talent? I mean, they pick a guy. I assume they've researched him, had an interview with him, checked out his stats, his skill set, interviewed his coaches. What's going on?
Well, you got to look at Elway. I mean, he's been involved in making those draft decisions, and for some reason, a lot of times, a man who had been an outstanding player doesn't understand how to fill that position. Like the Raiders and the middle linebackers. I mean, Jack Del Rio, he knows middle linebackers. That's what he did, but he had no clue on how to fill that hole. It's like their ability gets in the way of them recognizing, okay, this person, has this weakness. We need to cater to this, or, hey, this person has that weakness, but it's an easy position to play. So we'll just, we'll draft them and that'll take care of it.
I mean, I'm trying to wrap my head around them. I mean, definitely bringing Russ Wilson in is absolutely a great move on their part. And once again, a lot of people are saying, why would they pay all that value? There's a simple why. They've never replaced Manning. I mean, the difference between the Donkeys with their decent defense, not having a quarterback, is they've been perennial basement dwellers ever since. Right. And for a proud franchise like that, I mean, you got to fix this problem immediately. I mean, there's just no way, in whatever you have to pay your firstborn children, maybe your arm, leg, you got to give it up. And our commenters are basically agreeing, with it. But a lot of people say it was a bit too much to give up. What are you thinking about that, Heidi?
It was a very high price tag. But I think sometimes you have to bite the bullet, because you have to recognize we just have not been able to develop that talent. We haven't been able to recognize it. And at least we know what we're getting with him, and we're paying a lot for it. But, if I were a Broncos fan, I would be upset over losing some of those players and some of those picks, but I would be ecstatic that, we picked up Russell Wilson. So it's a lot to pay, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to remember as well, and I don't know what the entire haul is, because, again, I was actually working today, and I only said the only reason why I even knew what was going on was I was going through the break room, and they had ESPN on, or excuse me, BSPN on, and I saw the hit of, actually, when I went to get my 2 tacos this morning, I saw the hit that Rodgers was staying in Green Bay, which wipes out, for all those people that are trying to figure out what if Devontae Adams is going to be wearing 17 for the Raiders. The answer is no. Okay, so
which we said the entire time.
Which is good news.
Yeah, which is good news, because people that I've talked about it, so I didn't want to spend all that coin on one receiver when I can spread it around. But then, like I said, going through the break room, and again, I don't have unclass internet. And then I saw where they were saying that Russell Wilson was going to the Donkeys, and I was like, wow. And I don't know what the haul is. So you guys actually know it. You what? 2 1s, a 3, Noah Fant, and what?
2
They got
1s, 2
they got
2s.
Shelby Harris. Yeah, was involved.
Wow.
There was another player. I mean, it was 3 players, 4 draft picks. And I think the Russ Wilson trade comes with a 4th round pick from Seattle.
Yes.
So I mean,
Okay.
it's just not Russ by itself. But
Ooh.
and
Ooh,
and
a
and, and
4.
somebody
Okay.
just Bishop, you just said that Elway was their last draft pick. Someone reminded me today, the Colts picked Elway, okay, in
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
draft, in that 83 draft.
And so did
then
the
he was
Yankees.
subsequently, traded to the Denver Broncos.
And
So I
it's
mean, the
and
Broncos didn't even pick Elway.
yeah, and the other thing is that Elway was coming to the Raiders because the Raiders were giving up way much better haul than what the Broncos gave up. They gave up Mark Herman, the quarterback, and a tackle whose name
Mhm.
escapes me for Elway, and that's what that trade was. Mark Herman, the quarterback, and an offensive tackle to the Colts, and the Raiders were going to give up, and I can't remember. It was star players, but there was a dude by the name of Pete Rozelle that said, "Oh
Oh
hell to the
no,
no, he is not going to the Raiders." And
he's not going to get better like that.
he nixed it. He nixed it. So
Right.
again, that didn't happen. I tell you what, with John Elway as a number 7 in Oakland, I would think we'd have at least 3 or 4 more.
Game changer.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Super Bowls, but
That was
that goes without saying. But yeah, I mean,
the
I'm
other
sorry.
thing.
Yeah, but the cost and the age, you got
Yeah,
you got a short period with that, and you gave up a lot for him, and the guy is on the wrong side of 30, and he's starting to get injured a lot.
Yeah.
yeah. And the other thing is, it was also pointed out to me, and I agree that maybe one of the winners of this trade is Drew Lock himself.
Yeah,
He's out
Mhm.
of a system that does not know how to develop young quarterbacks, and maybe Pete will do good for him. I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with the boy's skill set. I saw a lot wrong with his football IQ, but again, you don't know whether that's due to coaching or just not being exposed properly. Like I said, I don't know what Denver is doing with those young quarterbacks. And this transitions us into the problem that the Raiders look at, specifically the Raiders defense. And this is what the rest of our show is going to be about, is talking about the Raiders defense now having to deal with 3 of, I would say, the top 10 quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
2 games a year. Okay. And that to me shines a spotlight on the fact. Forget about you getting wowed at the combine, but all that speed from those wide receivers. We don't need wide receivers. We need a pass rush. The quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard.
That's
And
profound. Did anybody important ever say that?
I'm not sure, but it's a guy that's near and dear to my heart. And I don't understand why the Raiders of the 21st century have not taken that to heart. You must have an anchor DT. And you got to have, we have been unable to close the deal when it comes to pass rushing. This year, the Raiders ranked 27th in completions after pressure. What does that stat mean? It's a new PFF stat, by the way. It means that even though our ends were applying pressure and making the quarterback move, there was nobody in the middle to close the trap. And that's why we didn't get sacks. We ranked 21st this year in sacks, better than 32nd, which we were in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
But we need more. Now that we've got these 3 awesome quarterbacks that we have to face twice a year, I mean, I can't see how we cannot pick defensive tackle first round. Now, what are your thoughts on, what do we do about these three guys now that we have to face them? What must the Raiders do? If you can give me just two things that the Raiders have to do to deal with these two quarterbacks, how do we have to get better on defense? What categories?
Well,
we need to be able to apply pressure.
Is killing like they did in what was the name of that movie, The Last Boy Scout? Remember when the guy took out the gun and he blew away the If you can't do that, then you're going to have somebody that's going to be able to murder without the operative murder the quarterback. You're going to have to be able to murder the quarterback figuratively. And you're going to have to be able to stop the run for sure. And you're going to have to be able to wrap up the friggin' receivers, and especially the tight ends, okay, right, which we haven't been able to do in 30 years with a linebacker. I don't know how that happened, but yeah,
I'm tired of hearing this excuse. Oh, we can't blitz because the guys that are left in the back six aren't good enough to cover whatever is going on. My attitude is blitzing gives you so many psychological advantages over the quarterback. It gives you turnovers. Half the turnovers in the league come after blitzes. Either the quarterback panics and throws the ball in error and it gets intercepted, or he fumbles, or he takes a sack. To me, the Raiders have to produce sacks from positions other than the D-line. And I don't know how to say this even more, I hear y'all, Sean. I see you talking about Jordan Davis. But see, realistically, is Jordan going to really be there at 22?
No, you're going to have to trade up for him. And he even said that. You're going to have to trade up to get him. And I tell you, and Jordan Davis would look good in silver and black. The only thing that I don't want to see Jordan Davis in is within the AFC West. Okay,
right.
If he's out of the AFC West, then he's a great player on another team. There are plenty. I mean, I hate saying this. There are plenty of great talent in this draft: offensive line, defensive line, backs, receivers. This draft is a cornucopia of great players that can be had by drawing the right player at the right time and just going for it with the right scouting. Now that's the point. Hopefully we don't screw that up. But I think that this draft will be the crux of our winning a Super Bowl. And yes, you heard me correctly. Winning a Super Bowl within the next couple years. Whether I'm alive to see it or not remains to be seen. But I think that we're going to be able to get the talent within this draft and go for it, and we will be fine.
Yeah, I just think that, we need to, I would love to hear from you two guys. Thinking of all the defensive categories, passing yards allowed, running allowed, yards allowed, sacks, what two stats do you feel? Well, let me just give you a rundown so you know.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders finished 32nd in turnovers.
Wait. Here's my surprise face.
32nd in red zone, points allowed in the red zone. 26 in points allowed overall. Okay. We allowed over 450 points this year. That's why when people tell me the Raiders defense got better, better compared to what? Our overall ranking on defense was 25. When all was said and done, we were the 25th best defense. Well, that's where we finished the last 10 years. I mean, we need to see, what two categories would you two guys like to see improve the most? When I'm talking about the ones where we are in the low 20s. And I told you about completions after pressure, 27th. If you're putting pressure on a guy, why is he completing the ball? And then, of course, fourth quarter and overtime leads. being lost. We were 29th in the league this year.
And that was with the great, exalted, imperial, mighty, omnipotent stomper by the name of, what was his name? The defensive coordinator we let go? We'll see. It's kind of forgettable because he was better than what we had, but he still wasn't that great. And
I mean, I never was happy with the Bradley choice. I just thought we needed somebody dynamic. Maybe Graham is our guy. But seriously, I want to hear which two categories. I've named about 5 categories. Which of those categories would you love to see improve? Give me 2.
Turnovers.
Of the one
has to be turnovers.
And your second pick, what other area would you like to see better?
I would say that new one, completions after pressure.
Yeah. Completions after pressure turnaround. Well, Captain Jack, of those categories that I named, which would you like to see improve the most?
Well, I was going to say turnovers for sure. And was there a category with points given up in the fourth quarter or something like that?
Yeah, the fourth quarter lead, we were 29th in giving up fourth quarter and overtime leads.
Yeah,
we gave up 2 overtime leads, even though we had 6 overtime games this year, and twice in overtime we lost that lead.
Yeah, I want to see the turnover differential be in our favor, and the points given up in the fourth quarter and or overtime to be better. I mean, to be honest, other than we won a lot of our games in overtime, but we
had to.
Yeah,
we had to.
but it was, and imagine if we didn't win those games, we wouldn't have made the playoffs.
What I've been saying, but of course, people who only look at one side of the ball, the offensive side, don't see the advantages of a defense that, for instance, ranks in the middle in points allowed. And those are my categories. Besides turnovers, I want to see that points allowed thing change. I've been waiting for 20 years for points allowed to come down. That necessarily affects points allowed in the red zone. I mean, that the two are hand in hand.
They're all interrelated. They are.
Yeah.
They're interrelated. You increase turnovers, and that is going to decrease points allowed. That's just the way it is, because they can't score if they don't have the ball.
Right. And the other part, just on a side note, the last time the Raiders had a pick 6? Can you remember?
No, I can't remember.
Didn't we have one within the last couple of years?
We had one in 2019 in Cleveland.
Who was it?
And believe it or not, it was Conley. Remember? Darren Conley.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I said I forgot about that because it's been so damn long.
You couldn't even remember. And before 2019, our last pick 6 was 2015. 4-year gap between the 2015 and 2019. To me, that's a franchise that doesn't put defense as a priority. You just gotta get better. We haven't gotten better. It's because of people who are still saying, wow, we need to get a speedy wide receiver on the first round. Yeah, that's their priority.
Well, the other thing is that, and you look at it, before Paulie G, who sounds better as a mobster than he did as a defensive coordinator. Before that, we had friggin' Norton, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, Norton Jr.
Yeah, and we had him for what, 2 or 3 years before they finally dropped him, and then we had the other guy that was the brother of the coach who improved our defense a little bit.
Yeah, it was Pagano.
Right? Yeah, yes, but there you go. So we've had, for the last decade plus, we've had some really
questionable.
Yeah.
But that's a franchise issue, is what my thinking is, that the Raiders still haven't fixed it in their mind that defense is the priority. it still is not. It's still not crystal clear. What do you need the most? Defensive tackle. I mean, it shouldn't even be a question in our mind. I'm going to tell you, if we were in Pittsburgh, it wouldn't be a question in our mind. Would it? I mean, certain franchises are just fixated on offense, and we're one of them, and our record reflects that. It really, really does.
Yeah,
And
I was going to say, I want to take this real quick. I apologize, Peggy, because everybody's talking Wagner. The answer to that is no.
how old is he, by the way?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's
gotta be on the high side.
I think he's on the high side of over 35. Okay. Now I saw Van Noy as well. Maybe Van Noy on a smaller contract, but I had because I'm seeing Wagner. I apologize, Peggy. I just had because people
No.
It's
important that what our comments are. I want you people, you guys to know we're reading them and we hear you, and I'm loving the people that understand defense wins championships, and I love it better, Andrew, where you say offense wins games, defense wins champions.
And that's the Patriots fan. That's
right,
the Patriots.
But somewhere in the Raiders' thought process, Al Davis's dictums on defense got lost. When did that happen? When did that happen? I mean, Heidi, when did we lose our way on defense?
After Willie Shaw left?
Mm-hmm. That was 2000, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I believe it was. And oh, by the way, 2000 was the year that the Ravens won with a quarterback named who? Trent Dilfer.
Yeah.
12 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 1,500 yards in 11 games, and he won a Super Bowl ring. Why?
Defense.
Because defense took them all away. You don't even need to concern yourself with a quarterback. And he can even make mistakes. But if you got a defense in your back that gets turnovers, that creates problems, that dominates an offense, that shuts down the best thing that the other side do, you don't have a problem with that. Now, one thing I wanted to do, because we're only going to do an hour today, but I wanted to go through the Raiders' defensive roster, guys, and I want you to think hard. We're going to do keep, cut, or trade. Okay? Keep, cut, or trade. And if you're having a problem with cut or trade, you're thinking value. Can I really get value out in the market for this guy? So I wanted to go through one at a time and see what your thoughts were on our guy. And I want to start at defensive end, Ngakoue. Keep, cut, or trade. Heidi?
Keep.
Captain?
Trade.
He's got value. I mean, there's no question about that. How about Carl Nassib?
Cut. I don't think anyone would be willing to trade.
I'd actually, depending, and I can't remember what his contract status is. It's either keep him if his contract is not that great, or cut him.
Right, Jonathan Hankins. Keep, cut, or trade, Heidi.
I would keep him, but I would try to find somebody that would force him to be a rotational player.
Right.
Not the starter.
Not the starter.
Right.
Gerald McCoy. Oh, excuse me, Captain. I didn't get your.
No, that's fine. I got.
Keep, cut, or trade on Hankins.
I'm to keep Hankins for one more year because we know what we got with him. For McCoy, bye.
Yeah.
You don't come back from that injury though.
And Sharif, thank you. But we thank you what you said about by the way about Dilfer. But to me, it's emphasizing once again if you got a solid defense, a rock star defense, who you got at quarterback doesn't really matter. I mean, quite frankly, as long as he's competent and breathes, right? Gerald McCoy. Keep. Hey, Joe. Keep, cut, or trade.
Cut.
McCoy, Captain.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And I loved Gerald McCoy when he
But
was
see, I don't
about
even think
5
we
years
have to-
younger.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't even think we have to cut him. I don't think that he was on. I thought he was on a 1-year deal anyway. I think that he's already gone.
We're assuming that since we've got all new coaching, they're going to
Okay.
take and reevaluate everybody, no
Okay.
matter where their contract is. I mean, we
Okay.
may have some guys that are on longer-term contracts that we don't want to keep. Okay, Quentin Jefferson, keep, cut, or trade. Defensive tackle, my favorite position.
I would keep it, not as a starter.
Am I putting you on a spot?
I would keep it,
I
not
like
as a
this.
starter.
I like this. I like Heidi going first anyway, because then I can evaluate. No, I want to keep him because I want to keep him, but he's a rotational guy, and I'm a firm believer in having and maybe Marinelli did it best, like having everybody play. If you're on the roster, you're playing. You're on a rotation, so you're fresh, and you keep those dogs angry and going after the quarterback. So yeah, I want everybody playing. If you're there, you're there.
You're there. Moving along. Solomon Thomas, defensive tackle. Keep, cut, or trade.
I say he's still got something in there. He had a decent year last year. He was another player that was doomed by his draft position. He was never able to live up to where his draft position was. That doesn't mean he wasn't a good player, but I would keep him.
Raider guy, the answer to that is no. I just want to make sure that, because he's asked it a couple different times. I'm watching. The answer is no.
And I didn't even know Jimmy Garoppolo was in any conversation. I'm not even sure the 49ers really want to give him up.
Yeah.
But we can go in that another show. Okay, so Captain, did I get your vote on Solomon Thomas?
I like both Thomas and Jefferson because they played well in tandem together. I like what they had with what we were getting. Now, could we get better? Maybe, but unless I see what we got in the pot, I'm going to keep them on a rotation because I liked what we had with them by the end of the year.
Max Crosby, keep, cut, or trade.
Extend.
Yeah, we both said
Extend. Extend, definitely. Yeah. Cleveland Farrell, keep, cut, or trade.
I don't think we would get a trade partner for anything other than a very low draft pick, but I would trade. I just think he needs a change of scenery, and the Raiders have given up on him. They're not willing to give him a chance. Just give him a change of scenery, and I hope he does well there.
Love you both, Mr. and Mrs. Morrow. Captain, what should we do with Farrell?
I mean, people have been pissing on Cleve Farrell since the meme came out of the dude. That's, by the way, I got that upcoming in for one of my promos for these shows. I was right next to that guy, but that meme is like, very, very unforgettable. I like Farrell. I think that he was not utilized in the system well. I don't know who pissed in his Wheaties. And he, of course, if you're brought down by the folks around you thinking that you aren't as good as what you are, it does take an effect to you. One more year on that deal. I don't think anybody's going to trade for him. I think we got him for that one more year, which is this year. It's a ridiculous contract. Unless we get really talked into something that's wonderful, yeah, I think that he's gonna live. Especially this is his contract year. I think he's going to do well this year. I want to keep him for one more year.
One more year. Okay, going to our linebackers, KJ Wright. Keep, cut, or trade?
Cut.
Don't go away mad. Just go away.
and probably his dad, he'll follow his daddy to the Indianapolis Colts, and get his little 1-year deal there.
Yeah.
Markel Lee. And did he play this year? I'm not sure I saw him much in the rotation.
He was on IR.
He spent quite a bit of time on the practice squad as well. I think they did activate him for a few games.
Yeah.
I would keep him for the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
And possibly for depth, because I think we're going to wave goodbye to Littleton and Kwiatkowski.
Which is coming up. Captain, your view on Markel? What I did saw, I like his pass coverage skills.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the worst linebacker we got, because we've already alluded to who those are, and Peggy hit him, Heidi hit him right on the head.
Mm-hmm.
So considering who the worst are on our team, I'm going to keep them for depth until something better comes along. Because again, we're keeping them until we fill out the roster. We'll see who we get in better. As of right now, sure, give him a chance to see what he can do. I liked him when he's in coverage, we already know the answer to the two that Heidi said, so we can go right through those.
We're going to skirt right around that. Denzel Perryman, keep, trade,
extend.
Yes. I'd even throw an extra year on that contract.
All right. Kwiatkowski. Nick Kwiatkowski. I don't even know.
Your grandma Rose is dead. Bye.
What's your verdict on Kwiatkowski?
If you could get a trade, which I, again, doubt we would be able to. Otherwise, I would just say cut.
Captain.
I'm gonna cut Kwiatkowski because really nobody wants him, and I'm gonna see if anybody wants to trade for Littleton. Maybe somebody does.
Who knows? Divine Diablo, keep. Cut or trade.
Keep.
Definitively,
Captain?
Yeah,
Definitely
for sure.
A keep.
Yeah,
came on strong at the end.
Yes, he did. And when I see young players playing better game 16 or 17 than they were game 1. That's telling me there's some progress being made. I like a guy that I can see his growth. When I can't see any growth whatsoever,
and he did that through an injury-plagued season.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
He started. He got a late start on it, and he still made that impact. So
he most certainly did.
I like his attitude. I do.
Right, and Corey Littleton. I mean, you guys are talking trade.
Whatever you can do, just get rid of them.
And Corey isn't the victim of these changes in defensive scheming, changes in defensive coordinator. I mean, right guy, wrong system. Maybe Graham's system. Not a chance. You guys, your guys' jaws just got really, really long.
I don't. I mean, he did good with the Rams. He did, and I honestly thought with Bradley coming in that he really could make a marked improvement. Just being with a coach that was an actual defensive coordinator, as opposed to Paul and the Paul and the Pips.
Yeah,
but it didn't really seem to make that much of a difference. So.
Yeah, and one of the things somebody pointed out to me about Corey, he's used to playing behind a real defensive line. Yeah. Okay? Now, I mean, a lot of the players that come here, especially in the secondary, are just doomed from the start because they don't have the right kind of big guys in front of them. They don't know how good or how bad they really are because they've always been able to rely on those guys keeping offensive linemen off of them, okay? Raiders' defensive line ain't that kind of line. They've also been used to lots of blitzing so that it never gets sticky for them in the pass coverage game. I mean, it must have been quite a shock to Littleton to see every single down he was in coverage. I mean, he was in play every single round. That never happened to him with the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, it's very different being behind Aaron Donald.
Oh,
very different.
All right, moving on. Trayvon Mullen, keep, cut, or trade?
I would keep. I think he still has potential. He's wavered a little bit, but I would still keep him for another year.
I actually think that he is a commodity that we might be able to roll into for a trade.
Actually, that's something that people think about. Now, I'm going to mispronounce his last name. Brandon Faison.
Face on, yeah.
Keep, cut, or trade. I'm going to say it right away. He walks for me, but go ahead.
I would be willing to keep him around to see for depth, but he really was a Gus Bradley guy.
Yeah.
So that's how he ended up with the Raiders in the first place. So I could really see him just getting cut, you know, for that reason alone, because he's definitely not starting caliber. We had to use him that way quite a bit, just because of everything. But you know, he's definitely not a starting cornerback in the NFL.
You know, Captain, what's your view on him before we move on?
I said, and until somebody, I mean, yeah, we're gonna probably get somebody better. So he's gonna be on the opening 96, whatever you have him. But I don't, and that's it. Now I think he was on a 1-year deal as well. That's if he wants to come in. I think that him and pretty much almost 90% of the Bradley guys are going to try to find their wares in Indianapolis. So I don't think that we're going to have even the opportunity to figure out what we want to do with him. I think they're going to make the decision for us. But
But if you're a GM deciding which guys am I even going to try to make a play for, you know,
I don't
which
think
guys I'm really going to work hard to keep them happy and on this squad. That's the kind of decision making I want to get. And I want to move on now to Jonathan Abram.
Trade.
Oh, you guys are affirmative. You are decision makers. I love it. And probably trade. Although one-dimensional as he is, maybe Graham can put him to use in a deployed type of setting where he only comes in on certain downs. Maybe he only plays first and second down and he's out on obvious passing downs.
Well, then he better take a friggin' pay cut for that special.
That's the word is out. Okay, I don't know whether we saw too much of this guy, Roderick Teamer. Did we see him at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially on special teams.
Yeah.
Keep, cut, or trade.
I'll take it. I'll take it, Heidi. So you can think. I'd keep Teamer, and Teamer is a Bradley guy too. But I saw enough of him as a special teams demon and a safety that came in that hits. I liked what I saw when I saw him.
I most certainly did. Heidi, you seen enough of Teamer to evaluate?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to keep him, not as a starter, but for depth and rotation, yeah.
Definitely. We're moving on to Trayvon Moehrig.
Keep.
Of course.
Absolutely keep.
Yeah.
He
needs to find some stickum. He neneeds to find some stickum to use, because I tell you, that interception that
I know.
Which game was it that if you would have had the interception, we definitely would have had the Redskin game. And a couple different teams. Yeah.
And see, when y'all start talking about my infants in the crib, you know, my little rookies, you're asking a lot of them. I mean, the speed of the game is like wowing them. And then now you want them to step up to second level skills like catching interceptions that fall into their hands. I think we give this guy another year. Hopefully he's matured enough to understand when opportunities are getting ready to come his way, and to be prepared.
Yeah, I like Moehrig and Diablo as safety.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see that pairing.
Okay, Casey Hayward, keep, cut, or trade.
He's just going to be too expensive to keep.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
well, first off, he ain't staying for what we're paying,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to Indy. Like I said, and I know I'm not supposed to read it, but yeah, he ain't even going to make the decision for us. It's like he's gone.
Oh, Issues had a comment about Teamer. He didn't like those penalties, and I didn't either. But I liked his aggressiveness, and I
But,
think those two things go hand in hand sometimes. We're going on to Nate Hobbs.
Keep and give him a babysitter.
thank you. Thank you. I was going to make a snide comment like that as well. Is like, yeah,
and look, the whole atmosphere around that Gruden team. I mean, that culture. Hopefully, McDaniels will definitely break it and change it. Okay. Our young players were left out there to fend for themselves. And yeah, some of them do need babysitters. They need somebody to tell them, look, even if you pull off the road and fall asleep behind the wheel, that's still a DWI. Okay. Because you are in a position to operate the motor vehicle. And how did you get to the spot where you pulled over? You were driving drunk. So, I mean, not only to educate them, but yeah, I would have somebody watching them. Maybe not to do anything, but to satisfy myself that I know what he's doing.
It worked for Al. It worked
I
for
was going to
Al.
say issues. I was going to say Al Davis had folks being babysitters, so don't say that it's never been done before. And these were guys that were stalwarts on our team, but we had people that were making sure that these schmucks were babysat at times. So don't say we don't have time. No, we
And
do.
the other thing is, it's not to babysit them. It's so that the franchise can be informed of what these guys do in their off time. You need to be prepared in a PR way, in a ready to go to emergency mode when something happens to these guys. I want to know in advance if Henry Ruggs was drag racing in the streets of Las Vegas months before he got into that accident. Okay? To have that knowledge.
Remember a guy named Sebastian Janikowski?
Oh.
Who?
I mean, he would have been gone so quickly. Had the team not stepped up and said, look, you are effing up and we need to cut that out.
And sometimes it's just the player knowing that someone is looking out for his best interest. I know you a grown man. It's not even about that anymore. It's about what's best for the team. Your feelings is all hurt because I know now that, you spend your nights with hookers drinking tequila. Okay. But now I know. You know that I know. So that when something happens, you know what's going to happen. We're just going to cut you loose. And leave it at that. Okay, moving on to Amik Robertson. Cut. Keep, cut, or trade.
I just haven't been impressed with them. I would cut.
I mean, I'd like to find. I'd like to find a trade, but I don't think we're gonna find a trade, which is unfortunate because he had all the ability in college. I think he's just undersized. I hate cutting them when we can try to get I'll take like a 7th round pick and a ham sandwich for him.
I think we got a better shot of getting the ham sandwich.
All right, quickly in this last 7 minutes that we have, the draft is coming up in April, and I think it's time that we start clarifying what do you want to see taken first round? What do you want to see taken second round? Let's just start with those 2 rounds first. How do you need more time to think about it, or because I know Captain already has it together?
I've been on your train for the last year. DT.
First round and then second round. What would you go for?
Unfortunately, I think we need to go for an offensive lineman.
Yes. And what position specifically, Heidi?
Right tackle. Because I'm not even sure Leatherwood starts at guard next year. Seriously.
That's a serious blow.
Yeah.
His first year out the box, and people have already, you know how I feel about my infants in the crib. He's
but we
just barely getting. Offensive line is not an easy position to play.
We chewed him up. I mean, we threw him to the wolves in a position that he had never played before, and we wonder why he didn't do well. You would put him back in a more natural position for him, and he played better. But it was still a lot to catch up with him, and I'm
not,
just.
What the other thing we're not thinking about is he didn't have the role models there. Right. He didn't have the type of strong. If Rodney Hudson had only stayed, I mean, he could have mentored this guy, helped him along a lot. We were dealing with a brand new center at the same time we were dealing with a rookie guard. Come on now. Where was he going to get the mentorship? That line hadn't even formed a collective conscious yet. And Captain, you got, help me out on this. When a line gets together, 5 guys play together for a little while, they get a consciousness about them. They start knowing each other's rhythm and moves, and that line was totally brand new, blown up. The only returning player was Colton Miller.
Yeah. And I have not given up on Leatherwood. No. I'm just saying we threw him to the wolves, and there's going to need to be a lot of remedial work with him. Colton Miller, his first year, it was bad stat wise, but you can still see flashes of what he had, and I didn't really see that much with Leatherwood.
And I think being buried at guard has something to do with it too. You don't see flashes except the rare Quentin Nelson, who comes right out the box, Hall of Fame ready. Right. But rarely do you see guards that are really distinguishing themselves. You have to know what you're looking for when you see a guard. At that island position of left tackle, you can see a lot. So I think you saw more Miller. But PFF was not impressed with Miller his first year. I mean, they were definitely not impressed. Matter of fact, I don't think he had. I think Leatherwood had better marks on some of the more skill level, categories than Colton did his first year. So, I mean, there were 2 different positions. I think you're right. We got to see this. We have a new offensive line coach.
Thank God.
Let him see. He might agree. He might not agree. Okay, Captain, what are you thinking about first round? What position you draft?
Well,
you're the GM.
First off, for all those people that are smoking whatever the hell they're smoking or ingesting, cannabis, brownies or whatever, the kid from Georgia that everybody wants, Davis, is not going to be there at 22.
No, he's not.
He's not. And again, as long as he doesn't find his way into the AFC West, that's fine. He's going to be a dynamic kid.
So you're on DT for first round 1. You're looking for a DT.
Yeah, there are other defensive tackles available. And but if I go DT or linebacker BPA. And I'll say that because there are a lot of good linebackers in this draft, like Nkobe Dean and the other kid whose name escapes me. There are some good value, and we definitely need that. And I think that we are going to get the defensive tackle, whether it's 1 or 2. We're going to get one, and that's why I can say, because people were pissed that we got Trevon Moehrig in the second round, when they said, "Oh, well, he was a first round." Okay, well, we got him in the second round. We might have we might have missed on but as long as we address defensive tackle and a linebacker or corner in because we need a corner because we're going to need some corners. I think that those are guys that, and I don't want to necessarily get a corner in the first round, but yeah, it's just that I ain't having that. I will say this as well, and you guys
Wait a minute, wait. You just gave me 3 positions. I know you guys are into best player available, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what are you looking for? What's your first thing that you're looking for? Is that defensive tackle in round 1? Or are you looking at another position? Give me one position. Don't be going over this BPA stuff. Okay.
No, I hate being wishy-washy. I'm not being wishy-washy.
Oh, I know what you're doing. You're doing best player available.
Oh, if I got a linebacker like in Kobe Dean sitting there at 22, and I got a lesser defensive tackle there, I'm taking in Kobe Dean. Okay. Or there's another guy, I can't remember what his name is.
All right, round 2 then, what are you looking at? Round 2, say you get your DT on round 1, because now I have to really set it up for you since you're a BPA guy. So now round 2 comes around. You got your defensive tackle. What do you go for? What position you go for round 2?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna laugh, and actually,
No, I'm not.
Jason Dean has me thinking this as well. You guys are gonna giggle your goony goo goo ass off. But if there is a quarterback that is sitting there in round 2, that is gonna be there, and the reason why I say that is this: and you say I'm the GM, right?
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm trading back either my 1 or my 2 to pick up another round, pick up like another second rounder. I want to get a quarterback in round 2 and another defensive player in round 2. If you're talking about what I want to do, that's
interesting. And quarterback is really not stupid, Heidi. What do you think? I don't think that's silly at all.
I understand the philosophy behind it, but you have to look at this year's crop of quarterbacks.
There's a couple. There's 1 or 2 decent ones that are not getting. And I said I like the kid Strong out of Nevada, and I like Ritter out of Cincinnati.
Okay, and that's what it is. Now I wanted to go to our announcement because we're just about out of time. We are going to make this a call-in show next week, and Captain only has 1 line, right? Right? Am I right about that?
2 weeks.
But only
2
2
weeks.
rules we would like to answer questions that you are asking because you guys have such great comments. I'm looking, but we are going to have a call-in show, and we are going to take calls from our viewer on the 22nd of March. That's 2 weeks from today. So from the first time you start calling in, we only have 2 rules. Heidi, run it. Rule number 1. It is not a time to make speeches, okay? We're not going to let you take over the show. You ask a question or 2, then hang up and let us chew it around a little bit, okay? And we're going to work on this as time goes on. But we hope to see you on Tuesday, the 22nd, with your questions. We'll probably focus on the offense the way we focused on the defense, but that doesn't mean you can't ask any question you'd like. Did I do it right, Captain?
No, you're good. We're good. And the other thing is you can't cuss.
Oh, yes. We're Roku TV. We cannot cuss. But please, no speeches, no prefaces. Just ask your question and hang up, so that others can get in and ask their questions too. And I think that's it.
Yeah, we're at 59:04, and I gotta say that hey, had a great show. We're gonna make this quick because I gotta roll a little bit of credit. Love the ladies. Thanks for having it. Remember, 2 weeks. Get your questions ready for the Lady Wenches. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks again, folks. Thanks for being here. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Bye.